Hi, welcome back to Coffee Conversation, brought to you by ValBeMar Specialty Coffees. I'm your host, Stephanie Michelle, and I have the pleasure of sitting with Claudia Endler from Claudia Endler Designs in Space. Hi, Claudia, how are you?
Stephanie, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Now, usually I say, hey, thanks for joining us, but we happen to be in Claudia's beautiful gallery space, so it's kind of the other way around today. So thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for inviting me. This is
Absolutely.
really special.
We want to hear about what you do. Obviously, you're a jewelry designer. Claudia has decked me out from head to toe. I have a necklace, her bracelets, and a ring on, and it's just beautiful and so sculptural. Tell me, how did you start designing jewelry?
I always loved jewelry.
Yeah.
I always wore jewelry.
Who doesn't?
I collected jewelry ever since I was a little kid, and you could not drag me away from the store windows, and you still can't. I went through a time in my life where I decided that I needed to figure out what I wanted to do when I grow up.
Right.
And this was it. I tried something a little bit more practical, took graphic design classes, and just coming back to this because it was much more sculptural and three-dimensional.
So
yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, I really see that you're getting a lot of inspiration through sculptural, maybe architectural design too.
Yeah.
Did you study that a little bit?
I always love visual. I like architecture.
Yeah. Well, I know something special about you. I think it's quite special. So there's a story behind the stackable rings that you do, and I think you're wearing one, right? Yeah. So there's 3 of them there, and there was a process, there's some history behind those rings, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
It's a little twofold. One is that the style of stackables it's these little shapes that you can put together on your hand, and I wanted to offer clients the opportunity to put things together their own way and create their own expression. The other part was that they were a commitment ring to myself that I made when I was starting on this road of creativity, and they're a commitment to my creative path.
No turning back. You
no
were
turning back.
full-fledged jewelry designer.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I'm hearing something else too. Single ladies, it sounds like you can wear these rings and not have someone else put it on you. You can make a declaration to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why wait? I mean, this is about whatever you want to commit
Yeah.
to in your life, whether it's to someone else or whether it's to your own dream. It's actually empowering, I think, when you purchase something meaningful for yourself.
Well, so you just touched on commitment, and I know also that you do bridal sets for people. So how is that process of really being involved in someone's commitment to each other?
It's super special. There's nothing like it. We come up with something for them, and it's such an honor to be part of that moment in their life that's going to last the rest of their lives. And it marks the commitment they make to each other, and they're going to be looking at it every day.
Well, so tell me how your creativity flows into other aspects of your life. Like, where do you, some of the choices that you make, or like I know, for instance, you in your space, you represent other artists, and so you kind of help inspire them to do their thing. Do you see your passion show up in other aspects?
I always try and help other people who are in a creative business or trying to do something new, and so that's really inspiring to me, is that energy and people who want to do things.
It's hard to be creative, right?
It is. You know, also the other end of the business aspect, and that's why I also like ValBeMar, because they're bringing something new to the market. They have a lot of pride in, and the process is really interesting, and I think that people here would appreciate that.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. So earlier today, you got to taste Kopi Luwak for the first time.
Yes.
One of their coffees in the line, a very famous coffee in the line. What did you think?
I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah. I did. I love the smell of coffee.
Me too.
And it just gets those taste buds going. Then you anticipate the taste, and I wasn't sure what to expect, but it was delicious. It's delicious.
There's so much memory connected to coffee, don't you think? Like I remember at Christmas time, my stepfather would have to brew a cup before we could go down and open our presents, and like that smell always brings up, oh, presents are coming. Somehow, like I get excited. Honestly, I'm like, oh, it's coming, it's coming. So speaking of that, you know, coffee and conversation. Can you think of the last time you had a really empowering, inspiring conversation over coffee? And what was it? And what did you do afterwards?
I've had lots of inspiring conversations with people over coffee. I think it's a really good vehicle to connect with people, and which is really important socially, and also one-on-one with people. I was meeting with another friend of mine who decided to choose a creative path and work on her paintings, and we're talking about how I also wanted to do something creatively other than my jewelry, just something to kind of that had nothing to do with work or anything like that. And she helped inspire me to get that process going again. And I went out and bought a bag of clay. And took out my sculpture tools.
Breaking news.
So,
Clay pots by Claudia Endler. You heard it first. You know, like, it's coming. That's awesome.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. You might not want to see it.
I don't think the audience is going to hold you to it, you know, but they'll just be excited they heard it first, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I do hear that often when someone's creative, and when it's their work, they actually do need another creative outlet that's not their work to like motivate the other process. Like, so it's important, I think, to have something else that's somewhat connected, but really, there's no expectations on that creative process.
Exactly. And stepping back and taking a moment to feed and nurture that. And also, I think coffee is part of that process. To take a moment in time, and even if you don't spend it with somebody else, have a moment in time to kind of appreciate where you are with your cup of coffee in the afternoon.
It's the slow down, right? I mean, it's something missing in American culture, like just to slow down.
Definitely.
And, do this and talk to people and learn and see what they're working on and what they're inspired by. It's that slow down that I think that we all need.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for joining us and having us in your space. And we look forward to seeing the clay pots really soon. But if not, we won't hold you to it because your jewelry is beautiful and fabulous. And we can do with this.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for having me.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, that's another episode of Coffee Conversations brought to you by ValBeMar Specialty Coffees. You can learn more about the coffees on their website at valbemar.com.